an American phenomenon alone. It's a global preoccupation. Around the world, Formula One Grand Prix race drivers are international celebrities. In the American Southland, a form of racing has grown with which the average citizen can identify, Grand National Stock Car Racing. Here you can cheer for the make of car as well as the driver. Yet another world exists on the road courses of the United States. IMSA racing is called. Right turns and left. The romance of racing through the countryside. And then there is racing as practiced at America's national shrine to the sport, Indianapolis. Once each year, 12 of the world's great drivers are gathered together for a series of 4 races in identically prepared Camaros. The question being, if the cars were all the same, who would be the best driver of all? Well, in 1974, it was a man who appropriately raced on both road and oval courses, the late Mark Donohue, Indianapolis champion and Grand Prix star. In 1975, Bobby Unser survived this wild crash to go on and win the series. Bobby Unser of the Albuquerque Racing Clan. For the past 2 years, the winner has proved that consistency can be king in the sport. Without winning a race in a series in either year, A.J. Foyt piled up enough points to win the title in 76 and 77. The great A.J. Foyt. Now it's time to go to the starting line again in the World Series of Auto Racing.
Series of Auto Racing, featuring the International Race of Champions. Brought to you by Monroe, maker of the revolutionary Radial-Matic, the best riding shock Monroe has ever built. Test ride Radial-Matic today. And by Yamaha motorcycles for 1978. From street to off-road, from dual purpose to motocross. When you know how they're built, you'll buy a Yamaha.
We're in the Irish hills of the state of Michigan, some 70 miles southwest of Detroit at Michigan International Speedway. The occasion is the 5th renewal of the International Race of Champions. Good afternoon, I'm Jim McKay, and what, once again, is the International Race of Champions? Well, it kind of has its origins in the idea that motor racing, although one of the most exciting sports in the world, in many ways is one of the most frustrating. And that's because, to a great extent, the man is slave to the machine. If the greatest driver in the world doesn't have the proper mount underneath him, he's simply not going to win. So people have been talking for years. They say, suppose, however, you could get, say, a dozen of the greatest drivers in the world from the Indianapolis cars, from the stock cars, from the Grand Prix circuits of the world, bring them together and put them in identically prepared machines. Who would be the winner? Well, that's the idea here. There will be a series again this year, as there have been on the other 4 occasions, of 4 races. 1 here at Michigan International today on the 18-degree high banking, 2 on the road course at Riverside in California, and the final race on the high-banked tri-oval at Daytona in Florida. 12 drivers, as we said, drawn from around the world. They'll compete on a point basis, 21 points for first, 17 for second, so on down the line to a single point for 12th place. And who's in the race this year? Well, let's take a look at them. Let's meet the drivers. From USAC come Johnny Rutherford, twice winner of the Indianapolis 500, a Texan whose glory has come at the wheel of the British-built McLaren car. Al Unser, another 2-time Indy winner, half of racing's most famous brother team. Here's Tom Sneva, the 1977 national champion of the U.S. Auto Club, a 1-time assistant high school principal in the Northwest. Gordon Johncock is another former winner at Indianapolis. He's a last-minute starter here, replacing last year's IROC champion A.J. Foyt, who declined the invitation to defend his title. From the stock car circuit comes King Richard Petty, winningest driver in NASCAR history, a living legend in the South. Cale Yarborough has raced NASCAR and the Indy machines, but is most at home in the stock cars he grew up with near his South Carolina home. Benny Parsons once drove a taxi in Detroit just up the road from Michigan International. Now he's a NASCAR star who won the final race of last year's IROC series. Making his first appearance here is a new big name among the stock car set, Darrell Waltrip. This well-spoken young man could make his mark on the high banking here. Fresh from the European Grand Prix circuits comes Mario Andretti, Italian-born, American-raised, at home in any car you bring him. With Mario comes his 1977 co-driver on Team Lotus, Gunnar Nielsen of Sweden, taking his first crack at high bank racing. Belgium's Jackie Ickx, a four-time winner of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, is also making his IROC debut and admits to finding it all very strange. An American road course star, Al Holbert, rounds out the field. The 1977 IMSA GT champion is in the series for the second time. Those are the drivers. Let's meet another, one of the greatest drivers of all time, of course, our colleague, Jackie Stewart. What's your opening comment this year, Jackie?
Well, as ever, IROC's going to be tough, but I think here, Jim, more than anything else, because Michigan, the racetrack, is tremendously bumpy. They've had a bad winter up here, and the racetrack certainly hasn't improved. This is going to be difficult for all of the drivers, but for the European drivers, particularly for Jackie Ickx and for Gunnar Nielsen, I think it's going to be a headache, and it's going to be tough for them to race against these experts of oval track racing. None of them have had experience at all in drafting. Gunnar or Jackie Ickx have had any experience in that. It's got to be difficult, and I'm sure there's going to be incidents today, Jim. This is what we all have to look for. Let's hope there's safe incidents.
I mentioned that the reigning champion of the series, A.J. Foyt, is not here. Why not? Well, that's a matter of conjecture. A report on that now from Chris Economaki.
Well, there are 12 names on those dozen cars out on the racetrack, but there's one name that's not out there, the name tag for A.J. Foyt. A.J., the defending champion of the IROC, isn't here. And there may be one reason, and there may be many reasons as to why he's not here. Let's touch upon them. They say that he didn't get any appearance money, and that may well be true. And there's also a feeling of those of his counterparts who say A.J. no longer wants to race, but he also doesn't want to quit. And then there's the fact of his health. He has not been well. He has a virus. He says it's persistent and it won't go away. And then there's a case of high blood pressure, which he may have. His parents, one of his parents has it, and it could be hereditary. Whatever the case, A.J. has elected to pass up defending his International Race of Champions title.
All right, Chris. Well, the cars are moving onto the race course now, and as they do, here's a breakdown of the points awarded in each of the four races. Each race is weighted identically this year with the highest number of total points to determine the winner. It's that simple. The next order of business when we return will be the start of race number one. Let's run down the field now for the International Race of Champions, World Series of Auto Racing as they go down the backstretch. The three fastest qualifiers are all from NASCAR. On the pole, the rookie here in IROC, Darrell Waltrip in the light blue car. Outside of him in the red, Cale Yarbrough. In the second row, in the white car number 1, Richard Petty. Outside of him in the yellow car number 2, Al Unser. Row 3, orange car number 12 is Benny Parsons. Black car number 7, Mario Andretti. In the fourth row, the beige car number 5 is Gunnar Nielsen, another rookie in this series. Outside of him, the silver car number 9, Al Holbert. In the next row, the dark blue number 11 is Tom Sneva. The pink number 3 is Johnny Rutherford, getting very close to the start now. The final row, the rust number 10, Jackie Ickx. The rose number 6, Gordon Johncock. They're headed for a start right now. The pace car is off the track. The cars lined up in very good order as they head for the start-finish line. Starter Shim Malone is giving them the green flag. They're racing. Waltrip with the lead as they go across the start-finish line.
It was almost in formation as they went through there, and they're going into turn 1 now. You can see them beginning to spread around. They've got 4 abreast at one point there. Look at them closing up to try and get the draft, Jim.
It's still Waltrip and Yarbrough out in front. That's Al Unser in the yellow car just behind them. Richard Petty has dropped back. Richard has never had any luck in this series.
Mario Andretti's got up there to number 4 position as they go down that long back stretch. Remember, it's very bumpy down here. The cars are...
There's a crash on the back stretch.
And the car's upside down. A car is upside down.
I can't see the name or the number or even the color.
Car. It looks like a light-colored car, isn't it?
The silver car would be Al Holbert. The white car would... It's the silver car driven by Al Holbert, the American road course star. You mentioned, Jackie, before we started this race, that some of the drivers have felt that these cars are loose, not adhering to the road perhaps quite as well. But there he's moving.
The driver's trying to get out. The fire, there is some sort of fire. The driver, I can see him get the other side. I hope they can see him around that side because there seems to be some movement. Yes, an emergency man's going to that side, trying to get Al Holbert out of that car. The emergency crew's very fast in the scene here. There's the fireman there with his asbestos suit on. He's got breathing apparatus there. He's in a position to get into that fire. We've got everybody there who can help.
Excuse me, Jackie. If we had another camera isolated on that incident, let's take another look at it now in slow motion if we can. In the circle, you see Holbert in the lighter car and closer to the outer wall, Benny Parsons. Now, here's how it developed.
It seems that Al Holbert closed in on Benny Parsons as they come out of that turn there and sandwiched Benny Parsons up against the guardrail, because there's the contact. The cars collide with the guardrail. Benny Parsons' car, the red car, nearly turns upside down, and as you can see, of course, Al Holbert's car truly gets on its roof. The sparks are flying out of that car. The smoke is there. Remember, there's all that gasoline. There's oil in there. There's cars all over the place.
And down below, there's Tom Sneva crashing against the inner guardrail.
And that car of Tom Sneevers is hard hit, but look at that car, beautifully balanced as it goes down that back stretch at a lot of speed.
Okay, an incident on the very first lap. There's Sneva's car in the pits. Let's go down to Chris Economaki with Tom.
Well, it was a short IROC for you, Tom Sneva. What was it like for you over there?
Well, you know, starting in the back like that, anytime anything happens, you know, it's bound to be in front of you. And a couple cars got together in front of me, and, you know, somebody was up in the guardrail, and I just didn't have any place to go. I tried to miss all the, you know, debris and the cars coming across the racetrack, and we just got down in the grass and got the inside wall down there.
Was it driving mistakes or the track, you think?
I don't know, you know, it was a couple rows ahead of me when they first, you know, got together, and, you know, cars came together. I don't think it was the racetrack, you know, the guy should have been driving.
Okay, Tom Sneva, he's certainly out of it.
Tom Sneva, the U.S. Auto Club national champion. There are the remains of Holbert's car being towed away. The yellow flag, of course, still out. Another driver involved in that incident was Jackie Hicks from the Grand Prix circuits. There he is with Chris.
Well, it's no 24 hours, is it, Jackie? What happened over there?
Well, somebody apparently spun in the middle of the cars, and there was car all around, and I couldn't avoid the parts. I was standing on...
And what happened to you specifically?
Oh, I started to spin, and I went into the infield and hit the guardrail, but no damage really to myself, except that the car is...
You're all right?
Yeah, I'm well.
Okay. Jackie Hicks, he's okay.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Jackie Hicks of Europe took a long trip for nothing, because that's all that's left of his car for this day. By the way, they've made the decision now to restart the race entirely. Since less than one lap had been raced, they'll have a full rolling start, repairing the guardrail there, and we'll be right back.
That was quite an accident, and Al, you were the man that got upside down. How did it all begin?
Well, it's just, I got a good start and ran about down in the middle through the turn and started coming up towards the wall at the end, and I still was about in the middle at the exit of the turn, and I saw Mario, and everybody started to form a line, so I wanted to get back up against the rail going down the back straight. I started moving over to the rail on the back straight, and it just came around. I collided with somebody. I don't know who.
That was Benny Parsons, I think.
Well, I collided, and then, you know, the nose just nosed into the guardrail and hit the guardrail, and I corrected all there was, but...
You got upside down. What was it like in the car?
Well, I just figured when the darn thing would stop. You know? It was just going along. I was hanging there. I was making sure I keep my head up and trying to re-reference myself to make sure I could stay away from... And it was all right until right at the end, all that mud came in.
You look a little shaken now. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel fine. If I look shaken, it's only because it's a shame to wreck a car.
Have you ever been upside down in a racing car before?
Yeah, once in a Porsche, but, you know, I don't like it.
Who would? Well, now, Jackie, we have the words of the man most intimately involved in that crash. Why don't we take another look at that slow motion now, and maybe we'll see it in a slightly different light.
Well, there you see that silver car of Al Holbert. He did say that he tried to tuck in behind Mario Andretti's follow the leader situation, and that's what happened. He just didn't see the car of Benny Parsons, the red car there. He closed the door, and by so doing, sandwiched Benny Parsons against the guardrail. And it was when that collision occurred that the car started to get up on the edge of the tires and up on the barrier, and of course, upside down.
That has to be a very strange sensation for a person to be hanging upside down in a sliding race car. That was the story on Al Holbert's crash, and now we're going to have the restart of the race from the beginning. First, a report from Chris Economaki.
There are many better mechanics here to watch the IROC, and we've spoken with many of them, and a lot of them seem to think that the setup of the cars is wrong for this racetrack. They say they're too loose, which means when you turn the wheel, the back end wants to come out. They say the car should be set up to push. If you turn the wheel, then it plows a little bit. Some of them think there's going to be more accidents.
All right, Chris, they're milling towards the start right now. A field of 9 cars, not the original 12 that we had. Once again, between turns 3 and 4, they're going to get the green from starter Jim Malone. The pace car will be moving off the track. Here it is coming down low. Pace car is off the track. Field pretty well lined up. That's Gordy Johncock back by himself. First row, Darrell Waltrip and Cale Yarborough. Second row, Richard Petty and Al Unser. Third row, Benny Parsons, Mario Andretti. Then Gunnar Nielsen and Johnny Rutherford. And then Johncock back there by himself. In the light blue car, it is Darrell Waltrip. In the red car is Cale Yarborough. Yarborough trying to get the lead this time. Waltrip had led the first time that they started around. But it's Cale Yarborough up high, taking the lead in the race. Just behind him is Al Unser in the yellow car. It is Yarborough and Al Unser now with Darrell Waltrip dropping back. Mario Andretti in the black car, moving into third place.
Mario Andretti made a clever move there, but Darrell Waltrip dropped from pole position right back to fourth position as they get into that bumpy area going onto the backstretch. But look at Cale Yarborough. He's already opened a considerable gap there. This won't last for long because the drafting, the slipstreaming, these other cars are going to tighten up. And right now you see that.
It is 50 laps or 100 miles on this 2-mile high bank oval. 18 degrees of banking where they are right now between turns 3 and 4.
Mario Andretti closing up there, and Darrell Waltrip as they come three abreast down this D shape, and Mario Andretti's trying to get into second place. He's not quite there. He's still in third place as they enter turn 1 once again.
All right, we have Yarborough. Just behind him, the yellow car is Al Unser. Down low, the black car is Mario Andretti. And then the light blue car, now out of your picture. That's Darrell Waltrip who's out of the pole. But it is remarkable to see Yarborough opening up a lead. You seldom see a lead that big in IROC.
No, very quickly getting that lead. And there's the shocking big car of Johnny Rutherford coming into the picture right there behind Darrell Waltrip in the blue car and Mario Andretti in the black car.
Still on front is Cale Yarborough. Second place, Al Unser in the yellow car. The black car is Mario Andretti. The light blue car is Darrell Waltrip, but down low in the shocking pink car is Johnny Rutherford.
Johnny Rutherford trying to get it up on the inside there. He doesn't make the pass as they come out of turn 4 and come into this D-shaped racetrack down the front. Cale Yarborough, last year's NASCAR champion, this year's leader, really pulling it out there.
The white car up high, well, he's just moved out of your picture again, but you'll see him in a moment, is Richard Petty. Petty is getting into the action here, too. He'll be part of the story. So it's Yarborough with a good lead. Al Unser still second in the yellow car. The black car, Andretti. The rose or pink car is Johnny Rutherford. The light blue car is Waltrip. And the white car, Richard Petty, trying to chase Rutherford, going down low. Petty making his move.
So Petty is past the pole position holder. Waltrip is there. Mario Andretti tries to get against Al Unser. They're not quite making it. And Johnny Rutherford makes a move on Andretti is there high on the banking there coming out of turn 4. But look at the lead that Cale Yarborough's got. A lot of congestion in the back.
Into the stretch. Cale Yarborough the leader as they pass the start-finish line. And it's Al Unser, Mario Andretti, Johnny Rutherford, Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip. And that battle for second is sensational. There goes Mario Andretti moving past Al Unser and coming down low. Johnny Rutherford in the pink car. How about this? Sensational racing at Michigan International. We're at Michigan International Speedway, the first of this year's International Race of Champions, and Richard Petty is moving up in the field in a race being led by Cale Yarborough. Richard Petty is just behind Mario Andretti, who is just behind the yellow car of Al Unser, and up in front all by himself is Cale Yarborough.
Cale Yarborough pulled out a remarkable lead, but there's been a lot of scuffling for second and third place there as you see Mario Andretti taking second place as they cross the checkered finish line here as they go into turn 1. But look at Richard Petty in the white car high on the racetrack. Johnny Rutherford low in the pink car as they go over that bump there. Mario Andretti now in second place. The yellow car, Al Unser behind them. Then low in the racetrack in the pink car, Johnny Rutherford with Richard Petty in the white car, high on the racetrack, drafting these three cars coming down almost in formation.
Jackie, we might watch when they go into turn 1 again. It looked to me like a couple of cars were bottoming out. There were sparks coming up off this somewhat rough racetrack.
A lot of racing, and look at that. Al Unser gets outside of Mario Andretti with Richard Petty high in this 18-degree banking of the Michigan International Racetrack. On the other hand, down low in the racetrack is Johnny Rutherford.
And we've got Darrell Waltrip in the light blue car up high, drafting on Richard Petty in the white car. But it's Al Unser in the yellow now, in firm possession for second place. Cale Yarborough out in front. And now since Cale has broken the draft very early here, is it going to be very difficult to catch him?
He's done a remarkable job. This is the same man that we had at White World of Sports in a match race against John Cox some months ago. Here he did exactly the same. He got out in his own and he won that head-to-head match race.
You know, Jackie, one of the fascinations of this race series is the blend of personalities from around the world. Some of them at home in Monte Carlo, others in Indianapolis, and in the case of the race leader right now, most at home in the little town of Timmonsville.
Timmonsville's a little small town of about 3,000 people that I guess I know everyone in town, and I hope everybody knows me. It's a place that I was born and raised and went to school here, and I think, you know, the lifestyle around Timmonsville that I live every day is a far cry from the lifestyle around the racetrack. I have several businesses that I have to look after. Of course, I have some dry cleaners and a new auto service center store and some rental warehouses and apartment complexes. I enjoy getting back in the office on Monday morning and seeing what's happened since I've been away for a few days. And then, of course, I always have the county council job that I have to look after, too. And then usually on a Monday morning when all this is over, I head for the farm. This is where I really unwind. I like to get on a little bulldozer, a tractor, or a dump truck, or something that I can just do exactly what I want to do, and really unwind and do a lot of thinking and enjoy myself. This is where it all happens. Bill Houser. As far as my politics are concerned, what'll happen after the county council job, I really don't know. I can't do any more now. As long as I'm in the racing business, but when I do get out of racing, I really don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Maybe senator or congressman or maybe even governor. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Well, there's been one very recent change in Cale's political life. Since this report was made, the Yarborough family has moved across the county line, and he's no longer on the council.
They like to go out and see me off and wave goodbye, and I like to have them there. It's a two-way street for me. I look forward to coming home, and then when that wears off a little bit, I look forward to getting back to all the noise and the speed of the racetracks.
Cale Yarborough, very much a racing man of the 1970s, but still most at home down on the farm. It helps to have deeply planted roots. And now back to the race course, where Cale Yarborough is still very much the leader in this first race of the IROC series for this year. There's the rest of the field behind him, but boy, he's got a good lead, Jackie.
He has an incredible lead, and of course the rest of this pack are very tightly in there. There's Gunnar Nilsson from Sweden, who won the 1977 Belgian Grand Prix, a teammate to Mario Andretti in the other car, the black car that you can see third in your picture right now. This pack is very close. You can see the remarkable preparation of these cars. They're very evenly matched, but Cale's way out in front.
There is Cale. As we said, his lead is most sizable, several hundred yards now over the rest of the field, but they are very closely bunched, as you saw. Let's get a relationship right now and see exactly what Cale's lead is. There is his lead car, and you go all the way back to here before you pick up Al Unser in second place. Mario Andretti has now moved into third ahead of Richard Petty, who is fourth. Just keep moving back and forth, switching places here.
Well, of course, this kind of racing with all the drafting, and there you can see there's drafting. Look how close these cars are. Mario Andretti tries to slingshot, and there's some wet spots on the camera lens there, Jim. It could be rain. There's a threat of rain as Mario Andretti gets himself firmly into second place on that high banking there.
No question, there is a very fine, a very light rain falling on the racetrack right now, and they won't let that get very much harder before they'll simply have to bring out the yellow flag, because these tires are specially prepared for this kind of a dry race course, right?
That's right. There's no opportunity for these tires to accommodate aquaplaning or driving in the rain, and of course this is where the yellow flag will come in as Richard Petty now takes command in second place. Remember, Cale Yarborough is way out front, but if that yellow flag comes out, that whole field will close right up in Cale Yarborough. It will be a new ball game, another new race. But there's Richard Petty, currently in second place, the king of stock car racing.
Okay, who has had very little luck in this series. Actually, there's Andretti moving down low again in the black car, Al Unser in the yellow car, third in the coupe cars you see in this picture. The yellow flag has come out. The yellow flag has come out not because of an incident, but because of the rain. They'll be slowing down, holding their positions. There's Chimalone with the yellow flag. Laps under the yellow do not count in the IROC series. So they'll pick it up as soon as it dries out. We're just about ready for a restart at Michigan International Speedway after a rain delay in the first International Race of Champions, the World Series of Auto Racing for this season. Cale Yarborough is the leader in the race, but because of the yellow flag, his lead has just about disappeared. The cars are allowed to close up under those circumstances, and right now he just has a matter of feet, as you can see, over Al Unser in the yellow car and Mario Andretti in the black car, who is is third. It's a brand new race, and the green flag is out from starter Jim Malone. Here they come to the start-finish line. More than half the race still remaining to be run. It is Yarborough, Al Unser, Mario Andretti, and then a gap back to Darrell Waltrip, Richard Petty, and all the rest.
Yep, Darrell Waltrip got the jump on Richard Petty there just at the start. Richard Petty seemed to have a slow restart there because you can see that gap between the black car of Mario Andretti and Darrell Waltrip's closing up on him now. But of course, still in the lead is Cale Yarborough. Behind him is Al Unser. Behind him, Mario Andretti, then Darrell Waltrip in the blue car, and Richard Petty behind him. The cars are fairly well spaced out. I didn't like the restart because I think Richard Petty got it all wrong. He must have not realized it was going to be a restart at that time because he left too much of a gap, Jim.
Important, of course, that Al Unser and Mario Andretti are now in the draft with Cale Yarborough, so they'll be able to hold on to it, or should be able to.
And again, Benny Parsons, who's just going out of our picture, has dropped way back. There must be trouble with his car, but the car, the leaders, the cars you're seeing right now, and there is Al Unser trying to get the lead from Cale Yarborough as they're in turn one. Al Unser takes it, they're very close together. Really close together is Al Unser takes the lead from Cale Yarborough.
Look at Cale coming back.
And Cale's coming off the banking better. Really in the right groove as they head for that back straightaway. Al Unser now almost level with his rear wheel as he goes down.
Here comes Mario after both of them again. Mario Andretti coming into the picture.
And Al Unser is ahead of him as they go into turn 3. They're going round side by side. Al Unser's got the head on him.
Darrell Waltrip will be in that picture soon. Also, it looks like he's in 4th place.
And he's established the lead. Al Unser has currently got the lead from Cale Yarborough, but Yarborough's trying to repass him in the front stretch. As he does it, he takes the lead as they cross the start-finishing line and enters turn 1. Mario Andretti, Darrell Waltrip underneath Mario Andretti gets into 3rd position as they go over that bump. You saw the smoke coming out from below the cars. And now Cale Yarborough leads from Al Unser and Darrell Waltrip.
This is the kind of racing we've come to expect in the International Race of Champions through the years. Remember, these are all Chevrolet Camaros. They are prepared as identically as is possible for mechanical genius to prepare them. George Palmer, the man in charge, got all of these cars, all 12 of them, within 35/100ths of a second of each other. And now it looks like the pace car coming on the track again. There must be more rain beginning to fall, unless it's a piece of debris. We would certainly suspect that it's rain, although the spectators are not putting on their windbreakers or anything. We have had the situation earlier, however, where it's been raining out in turns 3 and 4 and not raining here on the home stretch. There you see the pace car between turns 1 and 2 at the moment.
Well, you can see from this pool of water, this shower of rain really is quite heavy. Now, a race driver, incidentally, quite often looks to the bleachers to see if umbrellas and things like that go up for safety's sake.
Well, they're going up now, and this yellow gives us some time to show you the comments of some of the drivers earlier on the way the cars are prepared for this year's series.
I think they're going to be a lot better cars. They're built a lot better. They're a lot safer. I feel more secure in them, and, you know, from that standpoint, I think we'll do better.
I think the cars are more uniform now than probably they were, and they're genuine race cars.
I think they're more of a racing car in a sense, but the important fact is that none of them have been wrecked yet.
Here, I don't know, for some reason they're just they're wiggling a little bit down the straightaway.
All right, the impressions of some of the drivers. The yellow's still out. Remember, laps under this series do not count, and also any passes that were made on the last lap will not count because that lap was not completed. That then is the situation as of this moment. Don't forget that 2 weeks from today, you'll be seeing race number 2 in the International Race of Champions. We've had a rain delay at Michigan International Speedway in the first International Race of Champions for this season, but the sun is breaking through now. The track is dry. We're going to get a restart with 29 laps to go in the race. Just 9 cars in the field, remember, because after a spectacular crash on the very first lap of the race, 3 cars were forced to retire. Those were by Al Mulder, Tom Sneva, Jackie Hicks. And now the green flag is out. They're racing. Cale Yarborough is the leader on the restart. Al Unser in the yellow car is second. Mario Andretti is third. Darrell Waltrip fourth. Gordon Johncock fifth. Richard Petty sixth. And Gunnar Nielsen is seventh.
As they're away there, they had a very clean start, but once again we've got the superiority of Cale Yarborough and Al Unser there. They're getting onto that back stretch. It'll be interesting to see if Al Unser can slingshot Cale Yarborough as they go this long back stretch. It doesn't look as he's getting him now. He's getting up to pass him. He's trying to get him into turn 3. Can he make it? No.
The next pair is Mario Andretti and Darrell Waltrip. They form the second pairing in this race. And then all alone behind them is Gordon Johncock. There you see Darrell Waltrip down low, moving alongside Andretti and moving into third place behind Al Unser. Unser, getting into the draft of Unser, who is in the draft of Yarborough.
A very clean first lap, no problems but for anyone else but Benny Parsons, who is sad to report well behind the field, and that's the car you see there coming into your screen. Benny Parsons already well back. He was involved in that first lap accident, but they're your leaders right now.
Cale Yarborough, the leader. Al Unser is second. Darrell Waltrip is third. And then there's a little bit of a gap, but it's only about 50 yards until we go back to the second group, which is now led by Gordon Johncock. They're the leaders. Yarborough, Al Unser, Darrell Waltrip. All right, now let's go back a bit. There we have Gunnar Nielsen passing Richard Petty, and not too many people in their first attempt on high banking passed Richard Petty, I'll tell you that.
Oh, Gunnar Nielsen's really shown himself today. He's got behind of Richard Petty and Mario Andretti, two enormously experienced drivers, as Richard Petty tries to find a way through, and look at Richard Petty right up against the wall. The old Petty line again, very high on the racetrack. Look how close he is to that wall. The shadow of the car on the concrete wall as he retakes Gunnar Nielsen.
Petty ahead of Nielsen again then. But Nielsen giving just a fine account of himself in his first experience on a high bank racetrack.
Richard Petty in the white car, Gunnar Nielsen in the beige car. What a good lesson for Gunnar Nielsen behind King Richard Petty.
You know, Jackie, Darrell Waltrip is also doing extremely well for a young man making his debut in the World Series of Auto Racing. We get to know him a little better. Home to Darrell is a place called Franklin, Tennessee. This is farm country, and here Darrell lives with his wife, Stephanie.
I've always had a good feel for a race car. I've had good reflexes and good perception and the ability to know what was going to happen before it ever happened. I've never had any doubt in my mind that I wouldn't be a race car driver and that I wouldn't be a good one and that I wouldn't win races. I've never been in a race that I didn't think I could win. A lot of times it's made people resent the fact that I'd say, well, I could have won that race. Maybe I was 10 laps down, but I felt like I could have won the race had things been going my way. I've always had the desire to win, and I always knew that I would be a winner, and I think that's helped me as far as my career is concerned. I think that's probably helped me as much as anything. I've always realized that I could get killed or hurt seriously. I think the biggest thing, the scariest part about the whole thing would be that if I was injured in racing, what would I do? I've been so dedicated to racing, and I think so much of it, and it's such an important part of my life that if all of a sudden I couldn't race anymore, I don't really know what I would do. I think I wouldn't want to be this way, but I think I'd probably just want to go lock myself in my room and never come out again.
Give me that old hound over here. Come here, boy. Oh, buddy. Weighs a ton. Oh, but this, my little honey, weighs 100 pounds.
Right now, I guess, as far as plateaus are concerned, I'm at the bottom of the top. There's still the Pettys and the Pearsons and the Allisons and the Yarboroughs. I think I've reached that same status, but still it's not Waltrip, Petty, and Pearson and Yarborough. It's Petty, Pearson, And I want to reach the top of that plateau. When it's all said and done, I'd like to be well respected in my field and be a consistent winner and win a couple of championships.
Darrell Waltrip, currently running third in the International Race of Champions in that powder blue number right there. Doing extremely well behind Al Unser and Cale Yarborough, who is still the leader in the race. There goes Richard Petty past Gordon Johncock in another place change. There certainly have been enough of those in today's initial race in this year's series. There's where they stand: Yarborough, Unser, Waltrip, and Petty. Much more to come.
Frank Gifford in.
But this year's first International Race of Champions. This is the battle for place with three branches of racing represented right there. Petty from Grand National, Johncock from Indianapolis, and Nielsen from Grand Prix. That's the concept. All the branches of racing, 12 drivers selected from around the world, racing in identically prepared Camaros, 4 races, 21 points for first, 17 for second, etc.
And there you see Gunnar Nielsen really low on the racetrack there. That's a question of inexperience of a young driver on an oval racetrack.
So the young Swedish Formula One driver passed both Johncock and Petty, but now Petty passes him back again, and here comes Johncock, moving down low, and he should be able to get by Nielsen here. Let's see if he does.
Yeah, he's low on the racetrack. He's managed to get through, and at the same time, and there was again that very bumpy section there going out of turn 1. But there's Richard Petty in the white car you see now has taken an advantage over Gordon John Cock in the red car, with Gunnar Nielsen in the buff-coloured car tucking himself in behind Gordon John Cock as they enter that long backstretch. And there's King Richard Petty, stock car driver of enormous experience.
Meanwhile, back up on the front, look at this battle. Cale Yarbrough is still the leader, as he has been since this race began. In second place, Al Unser in the yellow car is very close. And look at young Darrell Waltrip still hanging in there in third position. Very much a factor in that light blue car. Ooh, Al Unser, always a factor, it seems, in every race he's ever been in. Twice a winner of Indianapolis. Al, of course, is a member of one of racing's most famous families. Their home base now, as when they were kids, is in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
We were brought up in a very competitive way. My folks, everything we did, my dad said, if you're going to do it, you better do it the best way you know how, in all the way. I can remember back when I was a kid, I'm 5 years younger than Bobby, and of course my brothers, they were going along and started in racing, and I was just kind of trailing along, and before I knew it, I was working on the cars, and pretty soon I was driving them, and here I am today. So it's something that I don't think I planned to become a professional race driver. It was just something that came along, and I had the opportunity, and I took advantage of it, and that's it.
No, Al is not polishing his racing trophies here. These are old-time Franklin Stows, which Al collects and restores himself. Al Unser at home.
I thought you said you never played.
I often, think about how my brother got killed and why he got killed and the accident at that time. I don't think at one time I've ever looked back and said that I'm sorry that I'm doing what I'm doing. I feel that every time I go to Indianapolis or go to any race and I do good, it's repaying what has happened to our family. Jerry was doing what he wanted to do. He loved racing. I think you actually, sometimes think back what happened that day, why he got injured, but I've never let it bother me whatsoever. I think once a driver has been able to win a race or win several races, he finds within himself that he does have what it takes to win. I feel that each race I enter, I want to win. It's something that you just, if I feel that I didn't want to win it, I wouldn't go.
Al, the baby of the racers, but one tough baby on a race course. Right now, however, he's been passed by young Darrell Waltrip, and Al is third behind Yarbrough and Waltrip. Here's the battle for fourth, Richard Petty, yet again moving past Gunnar Nielsen in that tremendous fight they've been having for fourth place. And remember, there are points that count back there, too. Up on the lead again, however, look at Darrell Waltrip down low. Unser in third place. Now moving down low. He's going to try to pass on that side.
He can't do that because he hasn't got the draft of Cale Yarbrough. So therefore, as long as Darrell Waltrip keeps that draft of Cale Yarbrough, that's the important thing. That second group again, and Gunnar Nielsen's repassed Richard Petty. What a race this whole thing is. This first group that we're looking at now and the second group really jockeying for positions in these closing laps.
The leader, Cale Yarbrough, second place. Darrell Waltrip moving down low. Taking the challenge perhaps a little bit early. Can he hold on to it?
It's very difficult as he goes through there. I think he has it. He's going to hold it. If he gets through this finishing line in this position, it'll be the first lap that Cale Yarbrough has not left the race. And here he comes. Cale Yarbrough making another attempt.
As they come to the start-finish line, Yarbrough retakes the lead. And once again, he has never lost that lead at the start-finish line on any lap of this race. And Al Unser moving back in front of Waltrip again.
He's in the strategic position again as he gets in beside Carl behind Yarbrough there with only 3 laps to go. He's really in the home position, but Darrell Waltrip's not going to leave it at that. I think you'll see another pass coming up from Darrell Waltrip. He's attempting to come out, but no, he's going to sit there, and Al Unser tries to take the lead.
Going down the backstretch and into turn 3, in between 3 and 4 now. Unser has taken the lead. once again, will Cale Yarborough be able to get his nose back in front before they reach the start-finish line? It doesn't look like it this time. Here they come onto the straightaway, and Al Unser is going to lead at the end of this lap. He does, with 2 laps to go. Yarborough second, Waltrip third, and any one of the 3 of them could still win. It depends who thinks this race properly from here on.
And I have to think that Cale Yarborough could have repassed them going into that finishing line, but he didn't want to show his hand. So there you've got the relationship between the first man and that first group, and then the second group, which Gunnar Nielsen, the young Swedish driver, is still leading Richard Petty, and they've got way out ahead of the others. So there's your leaders.
One other thing could be a factor here. The leaders are gaining on Benny Parsons. They could get into traffic with him on the final lap. It's Al Unser, the leader. Cale Yarborough second. Darrell Waltrip third. Waltrip in the light blue car. He's down low now. He's tucked back in again. They're gaining on Parsons, the car that trails the entire field, as they go past the white flag. This is the final lap of the race. And there they go. No problem. Blasting by Benny Parsons. He got out of the way and let him go.
Benny Parsons, like the experienced driver he is, sat back there, went down low on the racetrack, and let these 3 leading cars go through. So Al Unser leads this very last lap, going onto the back chute. Cale Yarborough's lying in second. Darrell Waltrip's lying in third position.
Cale looking pretty good for that slingshot right now. Moving up alongside Al Unser. Cale Yarborough taking the lead again. They're headed into turn 3 for the last time today, as Unser got another shot at Yarborough left between turns 3 and 4. Coming up on 4. Unser setting up for the slingshot. Waltrip going down low. It's going to be door handle to the finish line. Here they come. It's Unser and Yarborough. Who's in front? Unser by a nose. Unser by a foot. Al Unser wins the race. Yarborough second. Waltrip third. And Petty gets fourth by a 6-inch margin over Gunnar Nielsen. What a fantastic racetrack.
What a finish. These 3 drivers up there really doing an incredible job, and then the race behind there for 4th and 5th place. It just couldn't have been a closer finish. Look at them in there now. A wonderful drive there by Al Unser. Great performance by Cale Yarborough. And look at them all. Darrell Waltrip coming alongside there to sort of wave to each other.
Here are the final standings. Al Unser, the winner, followed by Yarborough, Waltrip, Petty, and Nielsen. In a minute, we'll go to victory lane. And now it's time to savor the fruits of victory in this first International Race of Champions for this season for Al Unser in the yellow car, moving towards victory lane. It's been a competitive race all the way, but it started off certainly, literally, with a bang.
And what an accident this was. You can see that silver car getting upside down. The car of Parsons almost went upside down also. It says a great deal for the safety of these IROC cars that no one was injured at all in this amazing accident.
And on the very last lap, the very last turn, the last few hundred yards, it was Al Unser in the yellow car, just starting to edge in front of Cale Yarborough, who had led all the way. Coming to the finish line, and the difference between them, a matter of perhaps 2 feet. Now let's meet the winner down in victory lane with Chris Economaki.
Well, Al, congratulations. No lap money, so you only led 1, the important one.
That's the only one that counts, Chris. I didn't think I could get Cale there at the last. He had a little bit more power, and I just thought, well, he was getting a little loose in turn 3 and 4, so I figured, well, the only way I can do it is just give it a big try, and it worked out.
But you waited, Al. You must have had something going on up here. You figured it out. Exactly how did you do it?
There's, no way that you can just charge up there and try to outrun him, because you just jockey back and forth, as you can see what was going on, and I knew that if I could just keep in second, Darrell was worrying me when he slid up in front of me there and I said, well, I don't know how I'm going to get back by him.
What about the equality of the cars, Al?
Well, I think they're real good this year, Chris. They're, a lot better than they were last year. They respond better. They're still not what we're used to in championship racing, but I'll tell you, they've done a good job. The Penske crew and the IROC series has done a fantastic job preparing them.
And the net result of all of this, then, is that Al Unser has taken the point lead in this first of 4 races with 21, Yarborough with 17, and so the others all on down the line, down to Jackie Ickx and Tom Sneva and Al Holbert tied with 2. This is Jim McKay with Jackie Stewart and Chris Economaki. Don't forget, 2 weeks from today, we'll bring you race number 2 in this year's World Series of Auto Racing as the drivers compete on the road course in Riverside, California. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Roone Arledge. Today's race was produced by Ned Steckel and directed by Larry Kahn. Our associate producer, Chris Carmody, and our associate director, John DeLisa. Stay tuned now over most of these ABC stations for our live coverage of the Pro Bowlers Tour, followed by ABC's Wide World of